Currently, we're starting at the top of the cutting line, which is going to be our longest point of the graduation. Each and every section, we're working up the head, we're getting gradually longer. This means that we're combing section 1 into 2, and just that bottom area there above the ear, you can see we're actually leaving that slightly longer right now as a bit of personalization for an option towards the end of the haircut. We're now taking section number 3, which is working right from the zone on the top of the head through the recession area and coming down to just behind the ear. We're combing from underneath with the small teeth of our comb and creating that triangular shape, working section 2 into 3, working off the base of the head. You can see that we're working with the scissors in the Eastern grip, which allows us to work with a very straight wrist without putting any strain on our wrist at all when cutting the hair. Again, working down in towards the bottom of the nape, you can see that we're flipping the scissor around into the Eastern grip and cutting backwards with the scissor, which will allow my wrist to stay very straight and very comfortable throughout the whole process. The last section that we're working through is going to be directly going through the center of the head, and we can see the over direction increases from the center of the head out towards the corner of the shape that we've just built up internally with the graduation. Now we want to choose a shape on the vertical axis that's going to represent length and movement and take a little bit of weight out of the corner of the haircut. We're not working a complete rounded shape or even a complete square shape. We're doing something slightly in between. If we were to work with a rounded shape complete from back to front, we might find that we take away too much length from the front and the fringe area where the client actually wants to retain. If we did a square shape, we may find that we retain too much length and weight running through the front area, and we have to refine it anyway. So we're doing a little bit of a combo between a square and a round shape. The reason why we're choosing to work vertically is so we can control the length that goes from the crown all the way into the fringe area, which is by far the most important shape that we're working on through the top of the head. We can simply control our horizontal shape running from ear to ear by working a tiny bit of over direction, which is going to create a square classic shape horizontally. We're really just focusing on distributing the product and kind of pre-styling the hairstyle into the position that we want it to sit in, where we're going to have the sides of the hair start to be brushed back and have a bit more control in, where we're working with the top of the hair coming forward and sitting above the eyebrows with maximum movement. We can then work to soften out the hairline in a very natural way, so we don't punch in any strong lines, and we just keep everything super natural and soft by doing it in this way. What we're doing now is taking away some of the internal density with just classic scissor over comb technique. If we find that the hair is dense or looking quite clumpy in some areas, then scissor over comb will allow you to alleviate some of that density. The way that we're finishing and styling this haircut is almost like it hasn't been styled itself. And that's the type of look that the client wants, where it just looks good very naturally and it doesn't look too overstyled. As we can see from the front profile, we now have a length that sits above the eyebrows where it opens up the face and it starts to frame the eyebrow area, which is a good length for the client that he can let grow out. We have enough density and movement running through the top with the shape that we put in to enhance his movement and dimension to the head shape for a very playful style. Through the edges, we have something that's more controlled, which sits behind the ear area and sits backwards, building up that length and weight in towards the crown area for a very classic but very cool, natural looking textured hairstyle.